record so that way you all can go back and review at a later date if you need to. All right, can everyone see my screen share? If you can't, now as my mom used to always say, speak now or forever hold your peace. All right. Need to make sure I got my chat going so I can see you all. Even when I have my PowerPoints going, I don't really have a lot going on with the PowerPoints tonight. I don't have a lot going on with the PowerPoints tonight, but I want to make sure that you are able to see me. All right. Good. Woohoo. Love it. I like when things work out. Things don't always work out. Tonight's going to be a good night. All right. I get excited, and it may not show because I haven't gotten my energy level up to where I usually have it, but I get excited when I teach business. And so tonight, not really the topic I wanted to talk about, but if you get me talking about business and entrepreneurship, especially in the Black community, I get super duper excited. So you all, I hope, will be able to see my energy and feed on my energy. But tonight, Dr. Watkins wanted us to talk about, and tonight I am presenting on the 10 things that you must do to start a successful business. Now, with COVID, everything with this pandemic has kind of thrown the world in for a whirlwind. Everything is backwards. Things have gotten crazy. And so you may not have thought about starting a business, but I've always believed before COVID, and definitely now, if you don't have your own means of making money, you don't have your own business, at least a side hustle, that there will come a time that you're going to get left behind. You have to have some kind of income, and other than depending on a 9-to-5. I love entrepreneurship because it's afforded me the opportunity to be there when my son was growing up, to be able to, be a room mother and go on field trips. I was able to be there when my best friend was passing away from breast cancer. I could be there every step of the way with her. And so all of that for me is attributed to entrepreneurship. Not only that, but once you own your own business and you do your own thing, you realize the sky's the limit. Yes, you can become a millionaire on the corporate plantation, but it's a whole lot less likely that you're going to become a millionaire or make the kind of money you deserve to make and you want to make by working for somebody else. And so just being able to have your own business is a good topic. So even though this wasn't what I wanted to talk about with you all tonight, it's a good one. All right. Today, we're going to talk, this is kind of the lineup that I have planned for you all tonight. Basically, we're going to talk about kind of quickly, if you haven't been in one of my classes before, who I am. We'll talk about exactly what all I'm going to cover in short outline form. I always have to give my disclaimer, and then we'll give really quick rules and housekeeping. This part will maybe take 5 minutes, hopefully to give a chance for everyone to kind of get settled and bring your minds in, and those who were on CPT to be here and to be able to get comfortable and tune in. Now, I understand, I get some people, I had one text message that said, I'll be listening from the car. I'm trying to go to the grocery. That's fine. Just pay attention as much as you can. But if you are at home, go get you a pencil and paper and get ready to take some good notes. All right, so just who am I? My name is Nichole Compton. I am what I joke around and call your sister girl in the law, because I am an attorney, but my passion goes to my other title, Biz.Law coach. I am an attorney who's also an entrepreneur, but my passion is business, and I love helping entrepreneurs to either get their businesses started, where they are launching their businesses legally, and have a good legal and sound foundation for their business. I like to see my people to be profitable. So not only do you have a business, but your business is making money for you. And then also to help those who I work with to create a financial legacy, not just for their family, but for their community. And that's why I always say this is my selfish part, because I feel like I'm part of your community. When you do well and you prosper, guess what? That means other people in our community are going to prosper as well. And if nothing else, I love seeing Black entrepreneurs especially succeed, because we create jobs, we create wealth for our loved ones, but also for our communities, create jobs, quality products, and nobody can do it like we do it, right? So that's a little bit of who I am. I am originally from Louisville, Kentucky, which is where I am teaching you from tonight. But my heart and everything else about me resides in South Florida. I am a South Florida girl. I am the oldest of 8. I'm a grandma to 2 and a bonus kid. And I'm a Red Bull drinking, coffee loving, crazy chick who just loves life. And I love what I do, and I hope that comes across to you all. And I don't bite, so don't worry about trying to figure out, do I call you Attorney Nichole? Do I call you Professor Compton? It's just Nikki. You're in my class, your family, we're gonna get down to it. All right, and so like I said, my name is Nichole Compton, call myself the Biz Law Coach. Here's my disclaimer. My disclaimer is that this is educational. So you're in an actual class because I'm here to teach you. Yes, I'm an attorney. And of course, attorneys, we have to give you the disclaimers, we're the ones at the end of the commercial that you have, when they read at the end of the commercial, blah, 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 blah. Yep, that's us. And so because I'm an attorney, I do have to say that it is intended to be educational. This is not your personalized legal advice session. I'm not your attorney unless you hire me to be, but we wouldn't be doing it here. We do it one-on-one and in private, the legal advice that is. And everything that I'm telling you is relevant. And because I am an attorney and I am a business coach, I merged the two. So what I may tell you will have legal stuff in there, but it is not a substitute for you getting individualized legal advice. So if you have a question, you can either hire me outside of this, or implore you to go seek legal counsel for a legal issue. However, you'll hear me say my second part of the disclaimer in a minute. The quick housekeeping rules are this. There's no dumb question. If you have a question, somebody else probably has a question. I've already asked you, if you would, to kind of talk in the chat. I get rid of my screen. The only thing that I have on my screen right now is my PowerPoint slides in one corner and my chat in the right-hand side. I do pay attention to what you put in the chat. So here's how I like to do my classes, and I don't have a lot of rules, but these are my few. Don't make disparaging remarks, or, don't tell somebody that's a dumb question. If you think it in your head, get it out of your head, because it may be something you didn't think about asking or you thought you knew the answer to. The other thing that I would say is if you want to chime in, I like, regardless of COVID, I like being around people. I don't want your COVID, I don't want your cough, but I want you and your presence. And so teaching online makes it a little difficult, but if you say something in the chat, I'm reading it and I'm watching it. So I want you to know that I'm paying attention to what's being said. If it's a quick question or a comment, or if it's a, yeah, that happened to me, or I didn't know that, that belongs in the chat. If you have an extra long question that you really want answered and it has to do with something that we're going to talk about, or you don't want to forget to ask it, that goes in the question and answer box. And if you're on a computer, you'll see the difference in the chat and the Q&A. If it's a quick question, I can answer as I'm going, put it in the chat. If it's long, put it in the question answer. If it's too personalized or if it's too off topic, don't get offended. I may tell you, I'll put it to next week, or at the end, you'll get my email address and we can discuss it offline. So let me see. Here's how I want to do this. And so because this isn't the exact subject I wanted to talk about tonight, and it kind of goes into something else that is very relevant, I'm going to merge two PowerPoints. So we're going to start with some basic concepts that I want you all to know, because many times people, when they get ready to start a business, they feel like they have to have millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars or a big somebody to fund them to get started. It's not the case. So we're going to do a couple of basic mindset concepts first. Then I'll go over 10 succinct steps. And so the reason I'm doing the basic concepts is so you can kind of get the background. But the 10 steps is, if I was going to start from scratch today and I said, I need a business by next Thursday, what am I going to do? These 10 steps are going to be the 10 things that I would tell you immediately that you need to do. So we'll do the 10 steps, and then I'm going to come back, wrap it up with some extra tips. And if you wait to the end, I don't usually do offers when I do classes. But if you bear with me, I'm asking you, I will give you all the great info I have on this topic. But I've had a lot of people who've asked me to go above and beyond and kind of for more. And so I wanted to make sure at the end that if you want to know how to work with me one-on-one, or if you want to know how to get your individualized questions answered from an attorney perspective or a biz law coach perspective, how you can do that. And we'll talk about that at the very end, and I won't take a lot of your time. And I promise you, I could teach this all day. I love teaching in the Black Business School. So I'm not here to try to sell you a whole bunch of anything, especially not snake oil or anything like that. So don't feel pressured that you have to buy anything from me. I give freely, especially to my Black business students. All right, so let's start with, I'm going to stop my screen share. We're going to do a new screen share so that I can show you the other PowerPoint presentation. And this one's actually adapted from one that I've done previously. All right, can you all see that one? Did it switch? Yes? Are you all live? Are you still with me? Okay. Well, nobody said anything, so I'm going to assume the answer is yes. So I gave you my disclaimer a moment ago. Thank you, Carmen. Thank you. If I had a virtual cookie, I'd give you a box of cookies. You are awesome. Thank you, Kenya. Okay, so I gave you my disclaimer earlier. Now I'm going to give you my second disclaimer and my philosophy. Here's how I work. You have some attorneys that like job security. And so to get their job security, they feel like anything that they tell you, and this is some business coaches as well, they feel like if they tell you something that, and they make it so that it's so complicated, you have to use them. I am not like that. This is my philosophy. I believe in empowering you to do as much for yourself as you can. So lawyers, we're doctors of law. Just like a medical doctor, just like a dental doctor. Tomorrow I get my implants. I'm so excited. I get my teeth implants. But if I get a toothache, like my grandbaby, he's lost all his front teeth. If he needs to pull one of those teeth, he's gotten pretty good at pulling it out and putting it under his pillow. But to do these implants tomorrow, I'm not trying to drill anything in the back of my mouth. Same thing with a doctor. If my grandson had an issue and he got a cut on his leg, or he got, a scrape on his forehead, I'm going to wipe it off. I'm going to put some Neosporin on it, maybe a Band-Aid, and kiss his boo-boo. But if he breaks a leg, I'm not trying to reset that sucker, and I'm not taking out his appendix. That is how I feel about business, and especially business law. So you can do the Band-Aid fixes, you can do the minor things. You cannot do it all. And I'm not telling you that part because I want you to buy from me or get intimidated. But what you need to know is what it is you can comfortably do. Attending these classes and getting as much information so that you can arm yourself with knowledge is the best thing you can do. But you also got to know where the line is drawn and where it is that you really need the help of a mentor or a professional or both. And so I told you I had 2 disclaimers. My second disclaimer is this. I try to be honest in everything I do. I'm a Christian before anything. So you'll hear me say I'm a Christian attorney, I'm a Christian business coach, and all of those are true. When I wake up, when I go to sleep, and hopefully when I go to sleep forever, I will be in heaven. I believe certain things. However, I want you to also know that with that comes honesty. And the honest to God truth is this: nobody knows everything. No attorney knows everything. No professor knows everything. No business coach knows everything. I know what I know. I know what I don't know. And I know how to find the things that I need. And that makes me who I am. So if there's something you ask me or something I teach on and I'm unsure, or even if I'm sure, but things have changed, I will always come back and tell you, I don't know, let me look it up. Or I found out this and now I want to update you on what I said before. So that is my disclaimer and my 2 disclaimers in my philosophy. Now let's get into it. All right. So I wanted to start this part, with some basic concepts. Dr. Watkins asked me to teach you all how to start a business if you had to do it in so many days. And so 10 steps in 7 days. But before we get to that, I wanted you all to know that you can launch a business with no money. I don't know how many of you all have ever heard me talk before or teach before, but my honest to God story is when I graduated from law school and I passed the bar, I could have went back to corporate America because I worked for PepsiCo and Frito-Lay. I could have went back to corporate America. I could have made great money doing for Fortune 500 companies or going to a big law firm. Instead, I didn't. I hung my shingle in downtown Louisville, a block away from the courthouse, and I did it with no money. I started a law firm on a $500 credit card. And out of that little law firm, it grew and it blossomed to where just a year or 2 later, I had 6 attorneys in my office in a suite. And I don't know if y'all know about Louisville, Kentucky. It's where Breonna Taylor was killed and murdered. And there's not a lot of, Black attorneys, nor is it a lot of camaraderie, okay? And so to have 6 Black women attorneys and an extra, we call them cousins, not brothers and sisters, but cousins or non-members in the office, we had something great going on, but that all started from a $500 credit card, a prayer, a wish, and a lot of hard work. So money helps, but you can start a successful business without money. So I wanted to make sure that y'all knew these concepts before I teach you the other ones. All right. Thank you, Kenya. It helps so I don't just look like I'm talking to a screen. So if you all are ready, I'm ready. Number 1, to be successful in business, some of the mindsets that you need to have is a lean mindset. You need to know what's essential and what's immediate, and those need to be what takes priority. I have a lot of people that I work with and that I've done over the years. I've been practicing about 15, 16 years now. Oh my God, 15 years. Whew, it's a lot of time. And I've been doing entrepreneurship since even before then and helping people. And one of the things that I notice is people think that they have to have the best of the best and they have to, spend a whole lot of money on unnecessary things. And you'll have people that come try to sell you ad service and you need to spend $5,000 on a website and you need to do, get the best of the best for this vendor and make sure you can do it without a lot. You need to figure out why you're spending what you're spending in the beginning, and make sure that whatever you're spending on makes sense. If it's not a necessity, if you can't explain how it's going to bring you as much money as you spent plus some, you probably shouldn't be adding it into your budget. And you should have a budget. You need to be humble and spend humbly. Now, as an attorney, especially, I know it. You have to look like money to make money. I'm not saying that that's not the case. You do. You have to look like money to make money. What I'm saying, however, is you have to know that you can do what I do, ball on the budget. You can take, a shoestring budget and look professional and give professional service and have a great product. But to do it, you have to be conservative. Even if you have an investor, investors don't want to give you their money to spend on your business for you to waste it or squander it. They're expecting that you're going to give them a return on their investment. Then I always joke around. One of my other stories, which is not a story, is who I am. I was a teen mom. I got pregnant at 15, had my son 2 days after my 16th birthday. And one of the things that I used to always say, and I still say, is if you give me $5, we will eat for a week. I will take that $5 and turn it into 5, 6, 7 meals and some leftovers. And so that is how you have to look at your business. Every single penny, every single dollar, and not just what you're using on your business, but in your life. Now, I don't really like Dave Ramsey. Not that I hate him, but one of the things that Dave Ramsey always quotes is, you have to live like no other now so that you can live like no other. And so basically you got to be a good steward of what you have, not just for your business, but personally, because if you can do it for your personal life, and most people have to at some point bootstrap their business, which is exactly what I was doing with my $500 credit card. I wasn't like a lot of the other people in my law class that had, rich uncle, rich granddad. They're come from a line of attorneys and it just was expected they were coming into the family firm. I didn't have that. I had to take what I had and make sure as a single mom, I was still taking care of my son and still who didn't have any help. I joke around and say his dad went into law too. He went in with the orange jumpsuit through the back door. I came in the front with the briefcase. And that's the truth. So I didn't have the help. I had to figure out how to make it happen, which means I had to make every dollar count. One of the things you also need to know, and that $5 and eat for a week, is there are more resources than money. And we'll talk about that also as we go forward. Some of the things that you need to think about pretty quickly, and we'll talk about it in my 1 through 10, is kind of what you want in your business. Like, are you going to have, or do you have to have a business that is brick and mortar? Meaning, do you have to have an office, or do you have to have a shop, or do you have to have a place where people actually physically come to? Before there was COVID, I lived between Florida and Kentucky. My license was in Kentucky. My practice was in Kentucky. My home and my heart were in South Florida. But I was able to put most of my practice online so that I didn't have to always be in Kentucky to help my clients. So COVID has shown us a whole lot. COVID has shown us, that people can, and that you should consider having a virtual office. And so because of that, you don't have to pay for brick and mortar. So don't think that may be one way where you can conserve money. If you can do something, especially in the beginning until you start getting money and it makes sense, you may not need brick and mortar. So that's one of the things to consider and think about. So a brick and mortar is basically having physical space. You need to figure out, is it an absolute must? Now, if you are, you have to have a manufacturing facility to make the products, you probably need a brick and mortar. But, even even if you're making food products, they have co-op kitchens and things like that to where you can rent it as you need it, or a virtual office space that you can work from home, but if you need to meet a client, you have a space where you can go and help. And then there's places that are free. If you're in a big city, one of the websites I love, and I don't get paid for this or anything, is Liquid Space. It has where people who have extra office space, they put it on this website, and you can either get it for free in some instances. Some of them, I've had meetings in offices that were $10 for the hour, and it came with the receptionist that greeted my people with water and all of that, and I had my own desk and internet and phone line for $10. So Liquid Space is one of many sites like that. It just happens to be my favorite. Trying to decide service versus product, or doing both. I do both. So with Biz.Law.Life, I have service where maybe I draft a contract for you, or I give you consulting, and that's a service that's intangible. The contract will be both, because technically it's consulting, it's a service that way, but then you get the physical contract. Or I also have, let's say, books and templates and things like that you can purchase and actually hold it in your hand. You need to figure out what it is you're trying to sell. You don't have to do both. Usually, if you really get good at that one, you can always add on to the other ones, but at least have one. So, introduce what you're going to have in a scaled down version, figure out what works, and then maybe offer something that is similar to what you're already offering, like a service and that enhances your product, or vice versa, or different levels of the same type of product. Having a prime offer helps. So knowing that you don't want to be a jack of all trades and a master of none. But if you're really good at that one thing, then you can charge premium for that one thing. Now, and if you go to, let me think. If you go get popcorn from Walmart off the shelf, there's a million different kinds of popcorn, but they're popcorn. But if you get gourmet popcorn in Chicago and you go get the good big can, people will pay for that quality, for that name, because it's premium. They know what to expect. And you can't just walk into Walmart and get that same tin, or you can't pop it at home and it come out the same way as it does in the store. So a lot of times I try to tell people, think about what your prime offer would be. What is that one thing if you had to only offer one product? And if when we go over the 10, we'll talk about this, but think about that one popcorn. Oh my God, I'm so hungry right now, Carmen. It's horrible. Carmen is like, yep, Garrett's is the bomb. And it is. Believe it or not, I had a day one time where I drove to Chicago to get it hot in the 10, and I brought back a friend some. And that's like a 5 or 6 hour drive for me. That's fat stuff. Another mindset, I know with COVID, there were a lot of people who got laid off. There are a lot of people who realized that it didn't make sense. I have a family member who decided one person was going to stay home because it didn't make sense to put the kids in jeopardy, and or the daycare didn't have extended hours after school anymore. It just made more sense to just do everything from home, teach the kids from home, not have to worry about daycare. If you have a job, it is okay to stay on the plantation and have that to help fund what your business is. Don't think, and I've had clients who've done it, but you're a lot less likely to be successful if you just quit and be like, oh, today I'm going to own a business and that's it, I'm all in. Yes, you can do it that way, but you got to be really real with yourself and on it, and most likely have a spouse or somebody who's going to be helping you, because times can get hard. So if I was going to start my business fresh in the next 7 days, I would probably not put in a 2-week notice, or even a Cat Williams version of 2 weeks notice, where in 2 weeks you'll notice I wasn't here. Keep your job, keep that cash flow coming in, while you perfect your plan and your perfect escape. Consider what you're doing with credit. Credit doesn't have to be a bad thing. Just like candy and my vice, my Red Bull and things like that, everything in moderation is okay. And if you use it as a tool, you're okay. Just like I said, I started my law firm with $500. That's okay. But taking it and buying me a purse for $500, probably not the same. I get no return on my investment. I'm just, I'm dumping money, and so be it. I felt like it, but it's not going to get me where I need to go. You need to consider your personal credit as well as creating business credit and having a plan for protecting that. And many times until you get business credit, your personal credit matters with your business. But also be thinking about, whether or not you're going to save to start up your business, to bootstrap. If you have a credit card or loans, unless you have an airtight business plan, I usually tell people don't try to take everything out of your 401k and dump it into your business unless you have unless you have really worked it. So not in this, let me start in 7 days. You need to think about what your credit is and what you're going to do to fund this. Consider, as I said, virtual assistants, using students. A lot of kids are doing at-home classes online. We're coming up on summer. You got middle school, high school, and college students who are able to help. You have older people who have retired. I was telling somebody today, a lot of the judges in Kentucky started to retire because they did not want to be exposed to COVID as we open back up the courts. So you have people that can help, that you don't have to always do everything yourself and or pay crazy pay rates too, but still get help. There's even organizations that will provide certain types of businesses, free labor or, free consulting and things like that. So don't underestimate that. And then I'm also going to do a class where I can show you, if you have kids, how to pay your kids to work in your business and how that can help your business and can be a tax strategy for your family. Not tonight, but you have to come back. All right. The other thing is getting to where you use the knowledge and resources you already have. A lot of times people get grand ideas like, oh, I saw that Bitcoin mining, will make me a lot of money. Well, what do you know about Bitcoins and technology? Not a darn thing. I heard that you can make money by doing blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to throw everything into it I can. And I'm going to start up a tech company because that, I heard you can make money making websites, but I ain't never made a website. I don't know how to use the computer. You don't want to make your first business venture something that you have no clue about. The things that people are the most successful in are the things that they care about, the things that they will, like me. I go on vacation, I'm reading about tax strategies, business strategies. I'll read, a Bible story or things like that. But even my Bible stories are like, how did Solomon get to be the wisest man? And how can I learn from that for my business? When I went on vacation last year, my man was frustrated with me because he's like, why are you reading on tax strategy? And I'm like, I'm reading the tax and legal strategies. That's what I like to do. That's the kind of way you should be about your business. On vacation, you want to eat, breathe, sleep it, you love it. And with whatever your product is or your service is, it's a commitment. So you want to be committed to something that you enjoy, that you like, that you want to do, and something you know about. Now, is it okay to start a business you have no clue about? If you got a partner, or if you know that your startup is not going to be 7 days, you're going to have to, kind of get past the initial learning curve before you can do much. Okay. But for what we are talking about, you should start with something that you know and something that you enjoy, and that you're not going to put all this time and money getting the business started only to be like, oh my God, I hate, don't start an answering service if you can't talk, if you hate talking on the phone. Probably not the job or not the service for you to have. A lot of things you can do yourself when you don't have a lot of money to throw at your business. You can make up for that in elbow grease. So, if you don't have the money for the maid, you can still clean your bathroom, right? You can still get on your knees and mop and scrub. It may take you longer than it would to just pay somebody and walk away, but there are a lot of things that you can learn how to do yourself. And that's one of the things that I was saying at the beginning of this. Don't be afraid. You are smarter than probably what you know. And if know what your strengths are, know what your weaknesses are. The weakness is you get help or you farm it out. The strengths you play to and you incorporate that in your business and products and business strategies. Even the baby chewing the cord has a role. Don't think that you can't ever barter or work with other people. Now, as brothers and sisters, a lot of times we get this messed up because we think we should get hookups or our service is worth more than the person who we're working with. Not the case. You want to know what your product is worth, what your service is worth, and have an equal exchange. But it's okay to be, I've had times where I remember my dentist, he needed collection services. And as an attorney, that's something I did. But I needed to have a root canal. And I'm like, well, as a self-employed person, I pay cash for everything. How about I do your collections for this many months? You'll recoup this much money, hopefully, because this is how many outstanding debts you have. And I get the service that did, yes, it cost him to do it, but instead of him having to do it with do somebody else's teeth to give me the cash, we can make that exchange. So don't forget about that as a business strategy. And don't ever think you can't partner up. Sometimes you have another business owner that they don't necessarily have to be a partner in your business, but maybe both of you need a receptionist and both of you need an office space. So you get a 2-person office and you pay half the rent, they pay half the rent, you pay half of the utilities and the receptionist and they pay half. It works out like that. So don't be scared to partner. Don't be scared to partner up and consider affiliate marketing and affiliate relationships. We'll talk about that in the future as well. If you're looking for money, you can try to do it all on your own. But if everybody gives a little bit, you can have a lot of power. Before anybody in these parts knew who Obama was, I knew because I remember when, trying to fundraise for him. And I remember the strategy that he used when he was like, everybody, if you got $5, pay it virtually. If you pay it, everybody who's giving $5 is making a difference because a whole bunch of $5 or a whole bunch of pennies adds up, right? And then you have power. You also have people, if they put their money where their mouth is and they'll fundraise, pay into your fundraising or your crowdfunding, they also want to see you succeed. So when you succeed, they're excited because they're like, oh man, I put $5 into that. Now look at where they are. All right, y'all still with me? I know I talk fast because now the caffeine's kicking in and no food, that it makes it even worse. There's a bunch of crowdfunding sites, and we'll go over that. Oh, pre-sale. You can create a product or a service and sell it before you're finished creating it or doing it. A lot of people use this strategy. You have to be really good about keeping yourself on task and finishing. But one of the strategies to making money is to pre-sell your product or pre-sell your service. So before you ever actually package it and launch it, to see if people are really interested in it or they want to buy it, you can go ahead and put it on sale. A lot of times you'll see #1 best-selling books on Amazon, and they got that way because they pre-sold so many copies before it was ever available that on the day it started, guess what? They had thousands of copies sold, and it was for a book that wasn't even out yet. So think about doing things like that. I just came off of another, what I call corporate plantation stint, but it was for the man. working with a small business administration, doing grants and approving grants under the SVOG program. And so most people they think that you have to be a nonprofit to get a grant. That's not true. And especially after COVID, there is a lot of grant money to help businesses, especially in minority businesses and businesses that are in the urban community or support the urban community. The money is out there. So even if you don't have in your pocket, know that it's there. And you can grow it. You can consider microloans. And I'm going to go a little fast because this is the end of these slides. Getting paid up front, which is one of the things that we talked about, having an advance, getting an advance. Okay, getting an advance or having your pay structure to make sense. Give me one. Oh my gosh. So I'm sorry for the pause, but I'm excited. My sister didn't know I was teaching and brought me Krispy Kremes. I kept thinking, who is knocking on my door at this time of night? So thank you for allowing me to go get that and back on it. I wish you all were here. My man is dieting and fasting, and I have, in the next 2 days, I'll be getting 7 dental implants. I have a hot box of Krispy Kremes. I guess because I started talking about the popcorn, it's almost as good as Garrett's. We're gonna eat Krispy Kremes all night tonight. Oh my God. No, Kenya, I'm gonna eat them all. I'm just not gonna do it while I'm teaching you guys, but that's incentive to keep this on track. All right. Friends and family are another way to get your money. And of course, fundraisers where you're selling something that's not necessarily business related to get your money. Trying to breathe now. Joining masterminds and networking groups and things like that also are things that you should be considering if you're going to start this business. All right. So now what we are gonna get out of that one. Oh, are you all still with me? Does anybody want a donut? I wish you all were here because I'm the kind of professor, like when I was teaching at St. Thomas in Miami, I'm the one that would bring all the donuts and stuff you're not supposed to have to class. I like to eat, I like good things, and I like spoiling my people. All right, so let's get to it. Woo! Here we go. Anybody who's taken my classes know I like elaborate PowerPoints. These are not my typical PowerPoints, but will still be jam-packed with all of the knowledge. I put more into making sure I was concise about what I wanted to talk about than I did into my PowerPoints. So just know that your notes, and what I'll do is you'll have the transcripts and I will type up everything for you, but it just won't be in the PowerPoints, okay? So I'm apologizing ahead of time. It is what it is. All right, so let's get back. Number one, the first step, so get your pens and paper out. Again, I will have this for you. So if you attended tonight, or if you signed up and you're watching the video, you will have this where you can download it, or I will email it to you. The first step is to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you're asking for trouble. You're looking to fail. We don't want to fail right off the bat. So the things that you need to think about is, a lot of the concepts that we talked about, you need to have those in the back of your head, right? When you get ready to start your plan, you need to think about the who, what, when, where, and why. So, and that is essentially what a business plan is. You don't always have to have a business plan as elaborate as what some people think. There is the one-page business plan. I've heard many different versions. I even have a one-pager. The one-pager is so that you have a roadmap to where you're trying to go and what you're trying to do. But you're answering all of these questions. You have a plan. A lot of times you do the elaborate business plan if you're seeking funding or you're looking for angel investors and things like that. You don't have to have all of that. And your business plan will be a living document. It means it will be updated as needed, added to, taken away from, and it can morph into something other than what originally you had maybe intended. So in a plan, number one is thinking about, what am I doing and why? Why am I even starting this business? Is it something that's for me? Is it, something I had marked on my to-do list or my bucket list? Is it something that I need because I need to make money to put food on my table? You need to kind of figure out what you're doing and why you're doing it, what you're selling and why you're selling it. Is it a product? Is it a service? Are you reselling something? Are you an affiliate selling somebody else's products? Or is it a little bit of both? Is it a product and a service and, and some other stuff incorporated? You need to know what you're selling. And the why to that is the why as in why this is the product you should be selling, why this makes sense that this is what you sell. But not only that, the why as in the who. Who's going to buy what you're selling and why do they buy it? Every product, every service, every business is an answer or should be an answer to a problem. It should be some kind of solution. The greatest businesses and the greatest ideas of products and services come out of necessity. I'm sure somebody came up with Pampers when they got tired of wiping and washing cloth diapers. They were like, oh, no, we're gonna have to find something else. This is not gonna work. Every single product that we use generally comes from somebody who says, no, this isn't quite working like I need it to. I can do something better. So who are you selling it to? Who's gonna buy it and why would they ever buy it? Does it make sense? Is it something already out on the market? Is yours better, worse, different? What is it? And then how you'll sell what you're selling and why that's the method that you chose to sell it, right? So trying to sell, well, it works. The old school of selling a car, somebody has to come look at the car, test drive it and all of that. It doesn't have to be that now. How will you sell it? There's a lot of car lots that are doing well because they're putting videos on YouTube. They're doing walk-arounds with their clients on cell phones where they can see it. They're delivering the car to your house. It's not I can only go to the car lot in my neighborhood, test drive the car, and that whole long process. Just like with me, I drove 2.5 hours to get the car that I wanted because I saw it online. I did all my research. So how will you sell it? And why are you selling it the way that you're selling it? You know, what are you trying to do? What's your strategy? And so part of that quick planning also is trying to think through the market research part of it. And so I did put that under planning because that is part of the planning. Many times people say, oh, I have a great idea for a product. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start a business that does X, Y, and Z. Okay, well, every good idea is not a great idea. Like you shouldn't do every idea that you think is great, nor can you. I know that with me, my mind functions in business and logo and, you know, and those kind of terms and things, and it comes naturally. I can't do it all. There's no way I can be good at everything all the time and try to do it. And so you want to know, is there a market for what you're trying to do? Are there people who are interested? Do they have the same problem that you have? And it's not just unique to you, and your product or service will help with that. And your family and friends aren't your litmus test. They can help you, but a lot of times family and friends are just so excited that you're doing something great that they will, oh yeah, that's a great idea. And then you sunk all of your 401k into it and realize nobody's gonna buy your purple glow in the dark horseshoes because nobody's using that, right? It might have sounded like a good idea in your head, but you didn't have the quick market research. So it doesn't take forever to come up with a plan. You can sit down and do a 20-30 minute brainstorming session, maybe take a day, pray over it, you know, sleep on it. But, you know, part of your planning number one will be to have a plan, some kind of plan that you can articulate, that you've thought through and you can put in writing. Number two is the budget. So having not just a budget, but a balanced budget is going to be required. Like, how much do you have to spend? If it's a $500 credit card, that's fine, but know what you have so that you can prioritize what you need to go into this budget. How much is it going to take you to start a bank account? How much is it going to take you to get your prototype? Do you need to have reserves in the bank to get this business started? And if you do, how much do you need? How much do you have? So how much do you need and how much you have, and at least do a quick 1-page budget. This is how much I think I'm going to need every month. For my first year, it's going to take me this much to get started, or I can survive on 90 days with this much. And the one thing I will tell you is whatever you write down, add at least 10 to 20%. Things happen and you don't always consider every single thing that you may need. Things happen. So add that in there. Not that you're planning to fail, but it's better to have too much and overplan than not enough. Number 3 would be to figure out your entity type, so the business structure, and an EIN. So your business type, and most times when I'm teaching people, I tell you that I'll go through the different types of business types. We're not doing that tonight just because I'm giving you the 1 through 10. But the most common business entity type is an LLC, a limited liability company, not corporation, limited liability company. And regardless of if you decide to start an LLC or you just hang your shingle out there, which is called a self-proprietorship, which means it's not organized with the Secretary of State. I do advise that if you get make an LLC or form some other type of structure for your business, you have to have an EIN. If you're a sole proprietor, you do not. But I recommend that even if you're a sole proprietor, that you get an EIN, because you want to keep your personal separate from your business finances. And when it comes time to do taxes or my next step for you, you're going to need something that's other than just your social. And I highly recommend that. One of the classes that I will teach, and that's the one I wanted to teach tonight, was the 7 lessons that Black business owners should have learned during COVID. Because the sad part about it is Many, what my mom would say is people got caught with their pants down, essentially. And one of the issues were they didn't have the right entity type or structure. They didn't have the EIN number. They weren't organized. And so when there were opportunities, they couldn't take advantage of them because they weren't doing what they were supposed to do from the beginning. And so even with these bare minimum 10 steps, if you do these, you will be good going forward. So the next step would be, once you figure out your entity type and structure, whether it's sole proprietor, LLC, or whatever, you want to get an EIN. An EIN you get through the IRS, and it's an EIN stands for employer identification number. So it will belong to your business. I always say that it's like the social security number for your business. With that social security number, you can do step number 4. Step number 4 is go get a bank account. If you're going to make money, you got to have somewhere to put it. You can't put it under your mattress, and you can't put it in your personal account. You want to keep these things separately. Businesses and being a business owner is actually a wealth strategy. And I say that again, those who are wealthy usually have some kind of business. Even if it's just doing investments, they have some kind of business. It is a wealth creation and sustaining and succession strategy, okay? So you want a bank account. Some businesses, including one of the ones that I have, only had PayPal or something like that. You really do want to have a business bank account. There are places that you can go, some online institutions that are set just for small business owners. And if you need to know who they are, email me and I'll let you know. But have some kind of bank account, not just PayPal, for your business. You really do want to have a business account. Now you want to have PayPal too. So step number 4, take a day, go open you a bank account, and hopefully you go in and open a bank account, because one of the things that is valuable, regardless in any part of life, is who you know. It's not always what you know or what you have, is who you know. And like I said before, resources aren't just money. Sometimes the resources, the relationship with the people who you know that have the money or can help show you how to get the money. So having your own relationship with the bank, it really does help. So get you a bank account, get you PayPal. Number 5, figure out the laws, regulations, and rules that you need for your business. And lumped with that, I would also say call an insurance person. Business insurance is very cheap. The the Mercedes that I went to Indianapolis to get is in my business's name. My full coverage, that is more worth more than what it would be if I put it on a personal policy, but still comp and collision, what for the whole year came out to about $100 a month. Why? Because it was in my business wealth strategy. But business insurance, most of the time, is way cheaper than what you would think. And a lot of times it's way cheaper than personal insurance and things like that. You want to have insurance on your business. So especially depending on what kind of business you're in, you want to have some kind of business insurance. So step 5 would be also to call an insurance agent. If you need one, I got one, and sister is good. She does the Black Insurance Network, but she's good. And then you don't have to use her, but get business insurance. You want to know what laws and regulations are around your business. I had some clients I have one son, the only one I had, who was in recovery. And the city that he was in recovery in, there were a whole bunch of halfway houses and recovery houses that were popping up. And people had put a lot of money into starting their businesses, and their businesses were making a lot of money. But they didn't look at what the zoning laws and regulations were for that area. So they didn't get permits they were supposed to have. They didn't have the corporate structure like an LLC, like they were supposed to have. The one who came to me did, and they survived. Other people got shut down, or their fines and things like that cost them their business. So there is no excuse. Ignorance is not bliss, and it's not an excuse. The law does not, I have a friend, attorney friend who says the law does not protect the ignorant or the lazy. And that's the truth. Find out what your laws and regulations and rules are for your business. I had another, ironically, a law firm in Florida who was doing outgoing calls to people, sales calls. They didn't know that they were supposed to have a permit, and there were certain times of the day they could call, certain people they couldn't call, things they couldn't say based on laws that they just didn't research. You don't want to get shut down and fined because you don't know. Find a way to know. And that goes with building your team. So really that's number 7, but we'll put it in number 6. Build your team. Figure out if you need a mentor. Figure out who's your people. You got people, you got legs, you can go places. So figure out if you got to make your product, if there's a vendor that you're going to buy your product from, or the parts to make your product. If there's people that you can partner with, if you're going to need interns and employees, like I told you before, there's ways to get those, get the help without necessarily going bankrupt, trying to figure out payroll and all of that. And a lot of times it could be your kids and it can be your family. So find out who your people are, but you should have a good accountant or CPA, if nothing else, on call. And there are a lot of people who are professionals like me who will allow you to do 30-minute call for a flat rate. Hey, I just need to know. I have a CPA friend, and she's a CPA that I actually send people to and I use personally, who will set up your QuickBooks and things like that and explain to you what you need. So at the end of the year, you're not like, oh my God, I need an extension on my taxes because I had one client who had, when it came time to do PPP and EIDL last year, Kroger and Walmart plastic bags of receipts, no joke. You don't want to end up like that. Having good people on your team to kind of advise you what you need to know and how to do it saves you a lot of headache. So that was really number 7. We'll put it in number 6. But number 6 that we'll make number 7, Facebook is not your website. You can have a Facebook business page, and if you're getting started and that's all you can do, that's fine. There are inexpensive and free websites and website starters that look professional enough. But so the next one is to have some kind of web presence. The sad part about it, I will say this, you don't have to have a website or a web presence, but depending on your business, but there's very few businesses that you can launch quickly, grow quickly, and get the word out without having some kind of presence online. And here's the reason why. If you need help with something, what do? Nowadays, people Google it, they get on their phone and they look it up. Or they don't even think that they need it until they see an ad that they didn't realize they saw online. But most times if I want something, I'm gonna Google it. We don't use yellow pages anymore and things like that. So your website is that. And the reason I say a website and not just Facebook, I get client after client after client who calls and says, Facebook shut me down. They took off my post. They didn't like what I said. I didn't say anything wrong. YouTube demonetized me. I can't make money on them. They won't play my videos. I had a big event coming up and then all my marketing is gone. You need to own your own. You need to have people be able to come to you. And then there's also ways that you can do it. One of the, there are free directories that you can put, you can advertise and have a presence online where you don't have to pay a lot for. But I would suggest you have at least a 1-pager. And even if it's your the Google business page, it could be a 1-pager, just it legitimizes who you are. And it's sad to say, it's not business cards anymore, it's whether you have a web presence. And I can even say this, in working with the SBA, I was surprised that when they evaluate your grant applications or whether or not they're going to fund you, including like your PPP loans and things like that, they freaking Google you. They look for your website. If you don't have one, they question if you're really a business. Now, I have friends who have six figures, $500,000 businesses that believe they don't need social media or they don't need a web presence, they're not going to get any grant money from the SBA. I'll tell you that. You need that. You need to be out there. And it's something you can do really quickly. You don't have to spend a lot of money on, but your website is probably going to be your first place for marketing. Notice, I've said all of this, and I did not say you have to have a logo. I didn't say you had to have certain colors and you had to spend a whole lot of money on branding. This is not where you need to do that yet. Now, you probably do want to at least have a name for your business, but the name for your business can even change. Even if you make an LLC and get an EIN, the name for your business there's ways to change it or to have a nickname or another kind of name. So name it something, the 123764 LLC. It doesn't matter. The things that matter are these steps that I'm telling you. So that is number 6 that we made, number 7. Number 8 is to have systems. Now, the first part of the systems is your money system. You want your money to be on point. So you need to have your accounting, how you're going to invoice people, how you're going to get paid. So it goes back to opening your bank account. Some banks have where they'll have like free portals where your clients can pay you. There's business Cash App and things like that. I would say if you use Cash App or Venmo, make a business account. Even PayPal, don't use your personal, make a business PayPal or Venmo or whatever Cash App account. Now, Cash App will charge you extra fees if they don't charge the personal account. But even if it's a personal account and you only use it for your business, you don't use it for personal, that's better than trying to commingle. And we can talk about why later. So your financial, money in, money out, accounting, invoicing, you want to have that system in play. That may take you, out of all of these, pretty much you could do all of these in half a day or less. That one may take you a little bit longer because you really have to put things into place, and that's when things are going to come together. Your one-page website might take a day. Everything else you can do in a couple of hours. System number 2, which would be my number 9. System number 2 is getting your operations organized. Now, even if you are starting a consulting company, and what you're doing is you're going out and you're talking to clients about what they're doing in their business and how they should fix it. You want to have kind of what, the operations of how your business is going to work. Are your customers going to call you and schedule? Are they going to email you and you email them back? Are you calling them? Are you going door to door? After they say yes, then what? Are you sending them a contract after they say yes? Or are you going to send them a proposal and then they say yes? I mean, all of that comes into organizing your operations, your having an overview of your protocols, how you see the smooth process going from start to finish, and finish not just getting paid, but the follow-up and the repeat business. So thinking through all of that, mapping it out, and then putting into place what you need. And that's not just including, how you're going to sell to them and how you're going to price your stuff, but that's in there. But I'm talking about like, how do they say, yes, I want to hire you? How do you deliver your service or deliver your product? Are you making candles? If you are, how are you getting your wax? How do you take your orders? How do you, when you get them, do you drop them off at their house? Do you take a cart to the post office and mail them out priority? Are you going to the UPS store? Things like that. You want to have that mapped out. Now that part may take you a day or two. So if we're in our 7-day plan, that's probably going to at least take you, day 5 and day 6, right? But you got to do it. And so that's really the crux of it, having that step 1, step 2, step 3, so that you know what the flow chart is. So you're not scrambling when you get your first client. You're like, oh my God, now what? Okay, well, I got to do this and I got to send that. No, you kind of want to know. I talked about marketing. I made myself a note in the margins about marketing. But with your website and Facebook, that goes with your marketing. And I've already talked about free directories and social media. One of the things I left out, though, kind of goes with marketing, and it goes with number 10. Number 10 is you. I don't want you to have a business where you are your business and that if you die, the business dies, or that the business is limited by how much you can do. But in the start of your business, you are the greatest asset in your business, okay? So you need to educate yourself. You need to ask questions, because even if you know everything it is about candle making, there are going to be things about business that you never thought about. So you want to be able to ask questions to the right people, find mentors, find a network that isn't crabs in the barrel. And so if you're making candles, maybe you don't want to network with people who are making candles because you feel like y'all are too close, or, you know, they're your competitors. But maybe you find someone who does scented oils, you know, that you can use in your candles, or that can be bundled with your candles, or you find a soap maker because they do similar to what you're doing. And maybe you can find a package deal where the essential oils go with the candle that goes with the soap, and if they have their favorite smell, y'all can bundle them and sell them, package them together and things like that. So network. So that kind of goes back to marketing. The best marketing that you can do is not necessarily your website. Your website legitimizes you, but the best sales that you can get and the easiest sale that you'll ever make is when somebody else endorses you. When you have a happy client or someone in the community that you've networked with that believes in your business because you've told them about it and you can articulate it because you did step 1, you had a great plan, because you were ready to take them on and give them great customer service because you did step 9. When somebody else says, this is my girl, that's my guy, you want to get your line cut? Oh, I got the best landscaper and line service out there, and their name is X, Y, and Z. That's the best marketing you can do. But that doesn't just come because you like, if you build it, they'll come. No, it comes because you've told people about your business or they've experienced it. And so they are able to go out and be your ambassadors. So having people, you know, my mom always says, no man is an Allen. Well, in business, you really can't be, because you don't just build it and they come. And honestly, the people who make the great sales are the people who have other people making sales for them, and they're out and about in the community. So you want to have, you know, be there. And then not only that, you'll be amazed at how much you learn just by being around other people who are in business. They don't have to be the same business as you, but they get to talking like, I found this new place. I needed an answering service for one of my businesses. And a lady was like, well, how did you find me? Duh, I went to other attorneys who own businesses, and I said, I need an answering services, can do X, Y, and Z. Who do y'all recommend? And majority of the people said, I love this person. And so that's who I called. I never saw their ads. They had a website that I could go in and do the contact me. That was all I needed, because I knew from networking where to find what I needed. So you are your greatest asset. That's the last part. Network, find a mentor, ask questions, educate yourself. And what you'll realize is all of those go together. So as you're networking, you'll find a mentor, or you'll be mentored, whether you realize it or not. As you're networking or attending events or educating yourself, you're asking questions, you're getting them answered, but it's also telling people about your business as you go, whether you know it or not. All right, so those are my 10, and those are not hard steps at all. Just to kind of go back over it, you got your plan, make your budget, figure out your structure and get your EIN, do your bank account, and maybe PayPal or Stripe or something like that, but definitely a bank account. You want to be legal and legit, so figure out what the rules, regulations, laws are that surround your business, and get insurance if you can. because you're thinking long term. This ain't just a fly by night. We want to build it to be, I want you to be profitable. A website, not just Facebook, and do your marketing. And everything is marketing. Here's another tidbit that I always leave with people. If you use business cards, I always give two and tell them, here's one for yourself and two, here's one for yourself. And then one for somebody else that you know who may need it, because you will know somebody who's going to need me. That's what you tell them. Nowadays, I also do a virtual one. So I'll send them a virtual one too, and I'll make sure I follow up. Okay, so yep, there's going to be a replay. Don't feel bad, and you'll get this sheet in, you'll get the steps written out. All right, some of the stuff that you, website, marketing, build your team and people, your vendors, partners, employees, mentors, professionals, figure out who those people are, identify them, have them on your people chart, and start your, I'm old school, start your Rolodex, you know, get your list of who you're using and what you're doing. Number 7, making sure that you have your system, financial system in play, your checks and balances, your money in, money out, how you're going to do your accounting, how you're going to do your bookkeeping, and make sure that you know what's being spent and what comes in. And if you're bootstrapping your business, anything that you put into your business out of your pocket should be a loan, and it should be listed in your accounting as a loan. And so loans get repaid, and they can be repaid in interest, but you got to have some kind of accounting for that. And don't use your business as your ATM. If you want to take your business seriously, don't use it as an ATM. Be very meticulous in how much you make, how much you're charging. Make sure, going back to the laws and regulations, whether or not you have to file tax or have to charge taxes on what you're selling, because if you don't charge the taxes on what you're selling, guess what? They're going to take it out of what you made, and you're going to pay them instead of your customer. So once you get your system 1, your system 2 is your operations, your overview of your protocols, whether or not you need agreements and contracts to protect you, what your customers' journey looks like from intake to rebuying from you, repurchasing from you, coming, being a repeat customer. And then you continue to educate yourself. Now, one of the things that I would say is some of this stuff you can do one time, fix it and forget it. You don't have to open a bank account twice. You're going to open it once, you're going to be done, right? You keep your books balanced and all of that, but you open it once, you're done. Some of these things you're going to constantly revisit, revamp, fix, upgrade, scale. And so that's like your business plan is one of those. You write it today, it's not indefinite. It changes. So as you write it today, whatever you wrote today, it may change, it may morph. It's, though it's a process. So don't think that your business, if your business is going to grow, I always talk about it as either a house or a baby. In this context, we'll talk about it as a baby. Your baby grows. I looked at my 6-year-old grandson. I've raised him most of his life, and I'm transitioning him to his dad. And I look at his baby pictures, and his face was fat and he had a little slit. He looked like a sumo wrestler. I look at him now, he graduated from kindergarten. He looks like a little man. He didn't stay the same. And what I did for him as I raised him didn't stay the same. As he grew, his needs changed, and what I did change, because that's what you have to do if you want to keep your business surviving. Some things you will have to revisit, and they have to grow and be fixed. Let's see. So those are my 10 steps. I said after the 10 steps that I would kind of give you some extra tips. I like doing bonuses. If y'all haven't figured it out yet, I like when I order something, and even if it's something like a little piece of candy or a thank you card in the bottom of the box, I get excited. I like bonuses, so I give bonuses. So here's my bonus tips for you. One bonus tip that I would say is don't spend everything up front. If you have a $500 credit card and you need all 500, that's fine. But don't empty out your 401k on your business. Figure out exactly what you need and go from there. The other thing is test out the waters a little bit. You dip your foot in the water, see how this business thing goes. If you start your business in 7 days, that's great and it's doable. But don't think you're going to start in 7 days and on day 8, you're going to be a mega millionaire. It doesn't work like that. You need to pace yourself and be practical. So test the waters instead of going all in and jumping in and drowning or sinking everything you have into a boat that you didn't realize had a hole in it. And so that goes to the people who are like, I'm going to quit my job today and I'm going to start this business today and it's going to pay for all my bills. Because I'm telling you, it's probably not. Treat your business like a business. One of my mentors that I like to follow says, if you treat your business like a hobby, it will cost you like a hobby, something you just like to do and you'll just give it away. And, you have a whole bunch of them sitting around and you wait until the end of the year and sell them at the Christmas fair. Or if you treat your business like a business, it will reward you and profit like a business. And so if you're doing all the things like you're supposed to and you take this seriously, you can start a business in 7 days and you can by day 10 or 14 or 21 really have money coming in and it can be a legit business that you keep growing. The other thing too is set the expectation and the appearance of your dream business. So if you want to be if you want to be a $250,000 consulting firm, then you need to work and plan as if that's what you are now. Don't be a jackleg. Don't be a knockoff version. Don't mistreat your customers. Don't be like, they only paid me $200 and I really want to charge $1,000. No, you treat that $200 person as if they were your $1,000 person until you get to the point where you're charging that premium. You put your best foot forward. Don't send. I had one person who I wanted to hire for some PR stuff. And that's your whole thing is perception and representing me in PR. And you send me some scribble scrabble with a whole bunch of typos on it on a Word document. I don't even think it's a Word document. It was a Word pad or something. That's not a good look. Not when that's your business. Like you need to treat it and look as professional as you can. When I was starting my business on a $500 credit card, nobody knew that I bought my furniture from an estate sale or a thrift store. They didn't. They didn't know the picture came from the Dollar General. It looked like a nice frame. It was clean. It was where it was supposed to be. And I presented as if I was the most expensive, attorney on the block. And I treated my clients with all, professionalism. So they felt like they were in an office that was charging $3,000 an hour, right? Do that up front and it will pay off. I promise. Set that standard and expectation, not just for you, but you'll notice your clients and your customers will treat you that way. The people that you work for you will treat you that way. It pays off. The other thing is, as a business owner, a lot of people are like, I'm going to start a business because I'm going to retire doing my business. No, there is always something to do in your business. Always. I keep a deck of cards. And in my deck of cards, if I run out of something to do and I'm like, man, my to-do list got done, which that never happens. I write on the pad next to me, I got like 5 pads of to-do lists for different things. But if I'm bored and I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do today, I can pull out my cards and say, you know what, I'm going to make 5 calls today and just follow up on customers who've already bought from me, see how they're doing and if they need anything. And lo and behold, I'll find something else that I needed to do or I needed to know, or it'll spark something where somebody comes back and they say, I need you for this. There's always something to do in your business. It doesn't have the list of 10 things that I gave you to know that they don't necessarily all have to be done in that exact order. That was how my mind thinks, I got to do this. I need to do that. I need to do this. But some of those you could be doing at the same time. You can do, let's say 5 and 6 at the same time. That's okay. Or if you need to do 7 before you do 4, that's okay. Get them done. that's just the easiest way for me to lay it out as a blueprint for you, especially if this is somebody who's doing it on the first time. The other thing, always invest in yourself. Because the thing about it is you can look rich and spend poor, but the one thing that you cannot replace is this. Nobody can take this. If I have to go bankrupt financially, I can always restart. Why? I have the drive, I have this, and I have the know-how and I can do it. I can always restart if I need to. So you want to continuously invest in yourself. And then the last tidbit that I would give you is deadlines and goals. So if you're not like me, you're not a checklist kind of person, that's fine. But at least have 2 or 3 goals or 2 or 3 deadlines that you know by this date. So if you really are looking at starting your business in 7 days, I'm going to start it in the morning. By this day, next week, this is when I'm going to have it up and going, and challenge yourself and have that, where this is what you're doing. That will, I promise you, that will help you out. All right, let me see. So the next one is, what questions do you have? I see that I have a few questions, and so I will get to that. If you haven't asked the question yet, but you want them in there, go ahead and put it in the box. If you needed to know, well, I put this in here. I'm revamping my websites, but if you go to Biz.Law Coach or Biz.Law.Life, that's usually where you'll find me. Those aren't my only websites. And I am revamping those. I am a veteran in the Black Business School and Black Money 103 and master classes under the Black Business School. But I took a year off, so now I'm back. And so you're in my inaugural I'm back class. But I've already been asked by Dr. Watkins for next week's topic. So next week, I'm going to teach on trademarks. If you don't know anything about intellectual property and trademarks, I think he's been talking about it. I know that I've been helping him on some trademark issues and how to challenge them as well as how to get them. I'm do his trademarks for him. So I'm going to teach you all how to trademark things, or how to get trademarks and service marks and things like that for your business and what qualifies. And then we'll talk in a second about opportunities. I'm going to answer your questions. And then, as I promised, if you are looking for other opportunities to learn or other opportunities to work with me, I'll go over 3 different ways that you can do that in a minute. I'm going to stop my screen share. All right, so Carmen asks, as a single member LLC, are there benefits to filing your business separately? My CPA files my business on my personal taxes. You cannot, if you're a single member LLC, your LLC taxes get filed on your personal taxes as a Schedule C. You cannot file your LLC separately. The federal government looks at your LLC as what's called a disregarded entity. And I've explained it in some of my past classes, and I'll explain it again, maybe in another class now that I'm getting started back for those of you all who haven't looked at the past classes. But an LLC is a creation that was state created. So every state has their own way of defining what an LLC is and how it works. But a corporation or an S Corp, and those are actually entities that were created by the federal government and the IRS. So when you go to get your EIN, if you are a single member LLC, then it tells you there that you're your business is what's called a disregarded entity. So your CPA is doing right, and it needs to be filed on your personal returns on your Schedule C. And if you have more than one business, which I was surprised working at the SBA that there were other attorneys who didn't know this. If you have more than one business, you can have more than one Schedule C. So I am a serial entrepreneur, I guess you would call it. I have a bunch of businesses and a bunch of LLCs, and then I do some stuff as a sole proprietor. So as you know, I have a bunch of Schedule Cs on my 1040. So they are doing you right. Carmen says, I need to start networking. Do you have any good suggestions of groups to join? And is the Chamber of Commerce a good place to start? Carmen, it is where you feel comfortable. You want to get to have positive, like-minded individuals. Later on in the summer, I'm launching Sister C-Suite, which is specifically for Black women who are no nonsense and are looking to be educated and uplift each other and collaborate. I mean, like really collaborate to where they, what do you do? Okay, well, I do this. You want to work together and actually do like speed networking and things like that. There are other organizations that are out there like that. I have some that some Facebook groups that are women attorneys that I love. They're not just all Black women, but we share a common interest in that we're attorneys and we're women. And so the dialogue there is great. And it's usually nobody's backbiting and all of that. So situations like that are great. You'd be surprised where you can network. It doesn't, even with COVID, there are online networking. You can go to Meetup, you can do your Chamber of Commerce. There are virtual chambers of commerce now. So really, wherever. One good thing I like about my son, and I think it comes from me being a politician and taking him everywhere with me, is he'll talk to anybody. And so will my 6-year-old grandson. We'll get on the airplane and he'll have a whole conversation. And by the time we get off the plane, the flight attendants, the pilot, everybody in the back is like, bye, Ace. So you can network in the grocery store or anywhere. You can network at church. It doesn't have to be everybody stands around with a glass of wine and kind of look across the room at each other. And it's the forced, unnatural thing. You can instantly network by picking up the phone. Hey, I'm looking at starting a notary business, and I noticed that you have listed on your website that you offer notary services, or you're an attorney, so I would assume you need notary services. I just, I wanted to introduce myself, or I had a question about what do you do, do you mind if we have tea? I just wanted to, have a moment. I've always admired you, can I ask you a few questions over coffee? One-on-one works great. And a lot of times people want to tell you what they know and they like being helpful. So as long as you're not creepy and you're not, ungrateful or, are not really appreciating their time, people will sit down with you and talk to you. And sometimes those are the better places and chances to network than it is by just going to a Chamber of Commerce networking event or an after hours meetup group or whatever. So the answer is anywhere. And I have some opportunities too that as I launch them, I'll let you all know. Because I have some platforms where I have the capability to do like speed networking and things like that. So, not during the class time, but on a weekend, we could definitely do that. Okay, Francis says, I just submitted my question a minute ago by email. Can you talk tonight about the cooperative business model and how to maintain control of the business? All right, so Francis, yours would probably be one that I would say, let's talk offline, or maybe to do an actual one-on-one for, because it isn't necessarily, not that it's just completely not related, but it's not in line with what we were talking about tonight. And two, I want to make sure that I'm clear on what you're asking me, because when you say cooperative business model, I have two different things that are coming to mind. And so I want to make sure that I answer it correctly. So let me check your email. I may respond by email, but I may just put it into next week's class as a bonus. Is that okay? Let's see. back to the chat just to make sure I think that was my last question. I want to do Emmanuel says, I want to do a corporation with me and my fiance, but I am from Connecticut, where I'm assuming that's Connecticut, where taxes are high. Someone told me to register my business in Vegas and do business there. I'm kind of confused about that. So here's the thing. If you and your fiance are in the same state and you're actually doing your business in that state, you may have to register in that state. Now, you can, and a lot of people do it, they file LLCs or they start corporations in other states, but you will have to, if you're doing business in the state that you live in, or you and your fiance are in the same state, you will have to at least register in your state as a foreign entity. So you may not get around the taxes part. You may not get around the taxes part, but there may be some ways that you can minimize some of the taxes and some of the fees that come with starting that. And this is the one thing I would say. If you have a really simple business and business plan, you may be okay with doing your own structure. When you start getting into family businesses, multiple people businesses and partnerships and corporations, those are the times. Remember, I told you, I'm not putting my own implants in tomorrow. I'm going to pay a professional thousands of dollars to do it. Why? Because I'm not trying to jack my mouth up. I'd rather have it done right the first time, and that's going to save me money in the long run. So that is one where it may benefit you to sit down with an attorney and or CPA or someone who is knowledgeable about all of that, and actually say, this is our end goal. This is why we're trying to do what we're trying to do. And they may be able to say, don't do it this way, consider this. Or maybe that's not the kind of entity you needed to start anyway. Maybe you should consider starting this. And then as you grow, change over to this. And so that's one of those instances where you may want to consider going to a professional first. And I tell you, if it's something I think that you don't really need to, I'll be like, okay, go read this and you'll know. That's one of the ones that you probably do want to go talk to someone. And the other thing is, if she or he is your fiance, you definitely want to get a prenup, or at least a great operating agreement for your business. You want to make sure that that is clearly spelled out, because you can love them to pieces today, but usually the same person you fall in love with and marry is not the same person that you divorce. And I don't want you to get divorced, but the biggest business, or the true type of business that you put your all into, is a marriage. The second one is your business, but either way, you're exposed and you have a lot to lose. So better to protect it while you're happy now. Carmen, thanks for the info. Oh, great. I'm glad it helped. Francis, sounds great. Thank you. Got you. I'll write the question out more fully in the email. Okay, that works too. And I'll give you all my email. I'll put it here. And I think it is also, if you signed up, that is the email that I usually use for the Black Business School. Now that I'm teaching it, I'll be more regularly checking it or having my assistants check it. But my email that you can get me at is Biz.Law.Life coach@gmail.com. And the easy way to remember it is it came from this. Actually, it came from Dr. Watkins. My brand is Biz.Law.Life. Everything that's business and entrepreneurship, I love. Law is a tool that I have. I'm an attorney, so most people, regardless if I don't want to be labeled as an attorney, it is a tool. It is something I worked hard for, so I like legal stuff. And then life, I told you I'm a Christian before anything, and I love motivational speaking. I love being able to talk to faith-based groups, and I love helping people to really find how to live life and that more abundantly. And so that is, I use business and I use what I know in law to help people find that freedom and to live life abundantly. So Biz.Law.Life, which is why you saw Biz.Law.Life.com or BizLawCoach.com, but that's how you remember it. All right, so I promised you that I would talk about opportunities, further opportunities, and I have a bunch. One of the opportunities that I didn't list on my slides is a few years back on Fly Nubian Queen, which is one of the platforms with Dr. Watkins. I did a Memorial Day mogul marathon where I picked somebody and I actually helped her, all the 10 steps that we just talked about, I helped her start her business live in a series of sessions that we did on Memorial Day. And so I think I'm going to do a contest and pick somebody to help them with their business, or a couple of people, but I'm going to do that again this year. And so you'll hear more about that next week. Right after that, so that's the 31st of May, which is Monday. Right after that, I am going to start 3 different cohorts, or 3 different offerings. I was doing it previously. I've revamped it. This is what they are now. So if you're looking to, like, if you want to work one-on-one with me, I do have it to where you can pay by the hour and pay by the hour to ask questions or to get me to help you. But I've also, if you're looking for networking and mentorship and learning more than just what I teach on Thursday nights in Black Money 103, I am going to be doing a masterclass that will be 10 weeks long. It'll be weekly sessions. So 1, 2, 3 weeks will be where we'll have a quick class. And after every class, you'll get a recording of the class. You'll get the transcripts and any handouts and PowerPoints. And then on week 4, so I guess it will be 4 and 8 and 10, you will get a one-on-one session with me. So the first 3 weeks of every month will be a mixed group session where, you know, I'll be teaching something like this, but it'll be on certain topics. And then you'll be able to get a 15-minute one-on-one session with me every month where we can talk about what you want to talk about specifically. Nobody else has to hear, and you get the recording for that. So if you're interested in any of these, let me know. I didn't put up the site that you can purchase it. I want to make sure that I am limiting how many people I'm taking in each. So next week I will give you, and I may email it to you before next week, but next week I'll give you the link to it so you can decide which one. But if you're interested in any of them, then email me and let me know. The second one is one-on-one laser coaching sessions. So it's also 10 weeks. The first session is private, it's just me and you. Or if you have a business partner, you can bring them too. It'll be like a 1-hour initial assessment to where I can figure out what business you have, figure out what you need and how I can help you. And we will make specific goals as to your individualized targeted goals as to what you want to accomplish in the sessions. And then every week after that, so weeks 2 through 10, or actually 2 through 9, you'll get a 30-minute session with me every week where I'll say, okay, last week we talked about this. Did you meet that mark? Did you get it done? Okay, what questions do you have? And then here's what you need to do for the next week. And so that will be every week until the 10 weeks. And at the end of the 10 weeks, we'll kind of do another assessment. Okay, did we get you to where you thought you needed to get, or did we meet our goals? Did you do what you were supposed to do? Did I, meet your expectations? Those I am, and I do have my numbers on how many I'm limited to because I only have so much time in a week to do one-on-ones. But I've had people that have been asking for wow, I want more of your time. I want more one-on-one. So here we are. And then the last one is to do the one-on-one laser coaching sessions, but they are more intense. They're still individualized, but more intense. So instead of the hour initial session, it's an 1.5 hour initial session. And then it's the 1 hour session every week for the 10 weeks. And so that one is severely limited. In fact, that one you'll have to answer questionnaires, and it's going to be, you have to apply, because that's one that I want to know that you're really serious, especially because these are package programs to where they're not my hourly rate. So my hourly consultant rate is between $350 and $400 an hour. And so these are way cheaper than that. So I got to make sure that you're going to be serious if I'm going to give you my time and individualized attention. And if you do one of the ones where it's individualized, I will give you a more than 50% off on doing the mastermind at the same time. So that way you get the group part of it and you get the individual. And even with the group, you have a couple of sessions where it's one-on-one, you'll still get those extra sessions. With this one, you'll also get 2 ad hoc, what I call my coach on call sessions. So if you run into something, you're like, oh my God, I got a contract, I need you to look over it, I need it now, you'll get it right then instead of having to wait until later. So if you're interested in any of those, email me a Biz.Law coach. I'll send you the printout that says this is what's all included. Here's how you sign up. Again, like I said, you don't have to. I'm good regardless. I've had a lot of people ask me for more one-on-ones, and even contact Dr. Watkins for me, like, okay, how do I work individually with her? And I have some testimonials of, people who I have worked with one-on-one. I had one client who ended up launching her business and getting her dream job and moving hundreds and thousands of miles away to her dream job. And she's happy within just it was less than 6 weeks of mentoring. I had another one who a month or two after mentoring was, went from business falling apart and, oh my God, I'm going to have to, get rid of this, and this is going to get repoed, to, a $15,000 contract for the month and hiring people. And so those are just like real things that have happened in the last couple of months, like January, February. So not toot my own horn, but I know I can help, and I know what I'm good at doing. So there'll be other things. I'll have some smaller stuff that's going on, and I try to make sure that you all know, and not all of them cost. And so that's one of the things, like I said, I love throwing in bonuses and extras. So you'll get that. So one of the bonuses and extras you'll get for tonight, you will get I'll have a worksheet for you. It usually takes me at least until the next day. It may take me this time until Sunday before you get the complete replay, because again, I got to check in. Surgery starts first thing in the morning. So it depends on how long this takes to render and all of that. But you will get the information from tonight, as well as maybe even a bonus freebie for you. I try to always find extra stuff that I can send you just to help you to be successful. All right, so I thank you all for listening to my mouth for 2 hours almost. Usually I try to keep it at 1.5 hours with questions, but I never want to leave you all without having everything that you need. So thank you again, and we'll be back next Thursday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard. And again, this will be uploaded for you. All right, you all. Have a great night. You're welcome, Carmen. Thank you for being here tonight. I will see you all soon. Peace and blessings.